Hi, I'm Mr. D. Many years ago, an old martial arts grandmaster was once quoted as saying, out of every 1,000 students who become involved in the martial arts, only 10 of them will go on to become black belts. And out of the 10 who become black belts, only one of them will go on and learn enough to be able to help teach others. This is Neveah Yarber. Like every other young child who become involved in the martial arts, her dream was to earn her black belt. Today, at the age of 14 and after 5 years of training, that dream has come true for her. Neveah began her martial arts training back in August of 2012. Ever since then, she has been coming to class and training on an average of 2 to 3 times a week. Like all of the students who have earned their black belts at Mr. D's Karate Academy, she has also become proficient in not just one, but in several different forms of martial arts.
Whose idea was it to enroll Neveah in the martial arts?
It was a collective agreement with us. We looked at other schools, but we felt Mr. D's school was the best because we wanted her to be challenged in every area, and we felt like this was the best place for her because the way he reinforces and teaches the students, and it was important for us to have her earn everything that she's going to get here. She had to do that.
And also, too, on top of that, one thing that we really appreciated about this particular school is that it was more of a 360-degree training program. It wasn't like, the kids just come to the school, they're trained, and then once they leave the dojo, they do whatever they want, they forget all the training and so on and so forth. We appreciated this particular program because it reinforces some of the techniques, the discipline, the respect at home as well as at school. And that was one particular aspect that was different from some of the other schools that we took a look at.
Could you tell me how the martial arts has influenced her, changes in her behavior in areas outside of the school, say home life or school, sports, or extracurricular activities?
Well, I could say that, it's definitely helped with her confidence outside of the school. She was always and is a strong-willed individual, but this particular training provides her with a little bit of extra courage and grit and discipline outside of the school as well that, like I said, has helped her out at school as well as at home.
And she expects more of herself, and because she knows that we expect more of her, and I believe that came in as part of her training. So wherever she goes, whether it's soccer, it's basketball, whether it's school, she always feels like she has to be number one. And I believe that karate reinforced that with her being number one. She always feels like she has to get A's. She always feels like, I have to be number one. I cannot get a B. I cannot be number two. Number two isn't good enough for me. So she always feels like she has to be number one. And I feel like, because of her being here, she's being so driven by being number one. And that was important because being here provided her with that positive reinforcement.
Her martial arts training has included studying and practicing various types of karate training drills, jiu-jitsu training drills, and weapon katas. As part of the training to help our students qualify for their black belts, they are required to come to class from time to time after they have reached the first Q red belt level and participate in a program that allows them to help assist our senior black belt instructors during regular class hours.
Would you say that coming to the martial arts classes, was that a good investment for you?
Oh, unequivocally, yes, absolutely.
It was. I would not trade this experience for anything. I think that for me, and sometimes like Mr. D would have to pull me aside and tell me, okay, it's good that you're on her, but sometimes like if she would get hurt, I'm not the helicopter parent that was like, oh, come here, why are you hurt? No, I'm the parent that was like, no, you get up and you find a way to go out there and beat that kid. You always have to think about strategy. And for me, that was a good investment, because she knew she couldn't get in a car and cry and say, oh, well, I'm hurt. I don't care about you being hurt. What are you going to do next to beat that person? And, Mr. D would say, she's small, but she was tough. And she wouldn't back down from anybody, no matter how big the person was. And she still doesn't. And that was important for me, even though Mr. D was, he would say, Neveah, you can't slug it out with people. And I had to take a different stance and say, okay, well, even though I would be in the car and say, no, you go back in there and fight. And Mr. D is like, no, I don't want her to slug it out with somebody. I want her to use a different strategy to protect herself. And, it's martial arts, it's defense. So not only did she have to learn, but I had to learn too. And Mr. D had to teach me that, okay, I can't have my kid out here slugging it out with someone. It's self-defense too.
People often come in or call and tell me that they didn't know that our training program included karate, grappling, and Kobudo lessons. They say they didn't know about it until they saw our Facebook page. Parents often tell me that they've heard of children earning their black belts at Mr. D's Karate Academy, but they didn't know that our training program is also the reason why so many of our young students also excel in school, sports, and in many other areas of their lives.
Okay. If you could give advice to anybody looking for martial arts school, what kind of advice would you give them on what they should look for?
Again, I just kind of reiterate what I said earlier, is that I would look for schools, if not Mr. D's Academy, a program that's similar to Mr. D's Academy that stresses the martial arts, protection, respect, outside of the dojo, and that extends to at home, that extends to the schoolyard as well. Like I said, many of the programs that we saw before, it was just, you pay for your kid to come here and there's self-defense that's taught, but there's another half of the child's life that's being completely ignored. That's different at this school here. So one of the advice that I would give is a parent to find a program that's like this, where that teaching or that philosophy extends outside of the dojo. I would say that, to me as a parent, that's number one on my list. So I think that giving advice to a parent, that would be the piece of advice that I would certainly give.
And for me, it was important that she didn't come in here and look for a teacher to baby her and, to coddle her and say, oh, it's okay, you're crying. I wanted someone to push her, because this is martial arts. It is, self-defense. And more importantly, what it reinforced to me is like, what are you going to do outside of here? What type of person are you going to be in the community? What type of person are you going to be at work? It was just a well-rounded program where it taught her not only martial arts, but how to deal with life, how to deal with, anything that she had to encounter, whether she was struggling at school or in another sport. She wasn't intimidated by other people who were always bigger than her. Like even with, like I said, basketball and soccer, those are primary things that, she plays outside of karate. She was never intimidated by another kid. And, and that all came from karate. And I would not, like I said, I would not trade this experience for the world.
If you are not involved in the martial arts or know anyone who is, you may not realize that there are lots of parents enrolling their children in martial arts classes these days. And as you've just heard from Mrs. and Mrs. Yarber, parents are enrolling their children in martial arts for lots of great reasons. One of the reasons is to help their children deal with bullying. There's almost nothing that's more heartbreaking to a parent than having the child come home and tell them that they're being bullied at school and that the teachers don't seem to know what to do to stop it from happening. When parents go out to look for some martial arts lesson for their children these days, they don't look for martial arts schools that will only teach their children how to do kicks and punches, or schools that will only teach them how to do throws, takedown, pins, and submission techniques. They look for martial arts schools that will teach their children how to do a combination of all of these kinds of techniques. And in case you're wondering if children who are studying and practicing this type of martial arts ever use it to bully other children or misuse what they learn in any way, the answer is absolutely not. Not only do children love studying and practicing this combination of martial arts, but they also learn the kind of self-discipline that makes it just as easy for them to walk away from someone even if they know that they would have no problem defending themselves.
Keep your chin down, grab his arm, use your hands, grab his arm, hold his arm up. Then grab his arm and pull. Stretch him out. Grab him behind your head first.
Neveah, you just received your black belt from Mr. D's Karate Academy. Tell me, how does that make you feel?
I really don't know what to feel. I'm so excited, and I don't know why. I'm just still nervous from just doing things in front of people.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what your training has been like over the last 5 years to earn your black belt.
It's been tough, really tough. At least I know I couldn't really go through it alone. I had to have everybody help me.
Everybody, including who?
Mr. D and my parents.
That's good. Tell us about some of the things that you struggled with and what you did to overcome them.
Teaching, because I'm really shy.
Teaching what?
Students.
Teaching the students here at school.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how has Mr. D been instrumental in helping you overcome some of the things that you struggled with?
He's helped me to overcome my fears of being shy, and he's also helped me overcome the physical part and just telling me what I needed to do, how to get better. And then I would go home and practice and then do what he told me to do.
That's good. What advice would you give other under black belt students to help keep them motivated to continue training until they become black belts?
Just keep doing your best, keep trying. Just keep going, because there was a point where I really wanted to quit, and that's where I really felt like quitting and just sad. But I have to stay motivated because I had to get my black belt for my parents, for Mr. D, because I want to make everybody happy, even myself.
Explain how studying and practicing martial arts will be a benefit for you in the future.
Overcoming shyness and getting to talk to people in interviews, and it'll help build your motivation, how you motivate yourself, and how you can overcome certain obstacles in your life so you just don't give up.
What is one of the most important things that you feel that you've learned from your training here at Mr. D's?
To keep trying, don't give up, because if you give up, you're good as dead.
Neveah, you are 14 years old, and you already sound like a very intelligent young lady. Tell us about what you plan to major in college, and what kind of a career do you plan to pursue?
I always ask myself that every day. I'm not really sure what to pursue in life. I've been looking at other things. I was thinking about being a lawyer, then I switched to something else, then to something else. So I just really can't decide. There's just so many things to do.
But now you have the courage to do it.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you, Neveah, and on behalf of all of us here at Mr. D's Karate Academy, we'd like to say congratulations on earning your black belt.
Thank you.
You're welcome.